for. He's got Goblins under the sleeves there, and William Stevens with Maverick. One of the things about a matchup like this, Max Tietze's list includes a lot of anti-creature cards. Both of these players have seen all of the cards their opponent can bring to bear, because guess what? They have each other's deck list, so they can check into it. We got turn 1 Lackey from Max Tietze. He is higher in the Swiss second seed, so he gets to go first.
Okay, William Stevens immediately cracks a fetch land here to get out on the line right away, taking him down to 19. Okay, getting a straight forest. In turn, he will play Green Sun for 0, getting Dryad Arbor.
Now, Max, in the main deck, has access to Gem Palm Incinerators, has access to Sharpshooter, has access to Sting Scourger. There's a lot he can do in order to take care of a creature on the table. Green Sun Zenith for Dryad Arbor, it basically is a build-your-own Llanowar Elf.
Dryad Arbor, one of my favorite cards.
I am a huge fan of the new From the Vaults Dryad Arbor. It's from the Vaults, right?
I believe that's correct.
Yeah, incredibly well-crafted art and amazing layout for the card. If you get a chance, do yourself a favor, find it, look at the art, you're going to be happy you did. Turn 2, we've got a Wasteland on that Dryad Arbor.
Ooh.
This shows just how it's a little bit more fragile than an elf.
Okay, Goblin Lackey hits in, bringing out the Goblin Ringleader.
Ouch.
Aether Vial, War Chief, Lackey, and another Wasteland.
That's only, quote unquote, this is a joke, only 2 free cards from that Ringleader.
Okay.
So abusive. We have forgotten many times just what a deck like Goblins is capable of producing, mostly because it just has not been a very good environment for it. Now, this world right now that we're living in, it looks like Goblins has been making a comeback. We saw it in the Invitational, and here it is now in the top 8 here.
Scavenging Ooze. Out for William Stevens. Max Tietze starting 2 Goblin Lackeys and a Goblin Ringleader. Max did not play a land last turn. He still may only be on that Cavern of Souls. We cannot see his cards fully in his hand.
If you're just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan here with Robert Martin. This is the quarterfinals. We have played a lot of Magic we've watched a lot of Magic being played this weekend. Max is trying to decide, does he want to, at this point in the game, just swing in with everything, lose a Lackey, and then use the other Lackey's ability? Or does he want to hold back and not throw away one of his Lackeys?
Okay, he looks like he is going to swing in with everybody.
And they all come in, and we see William Stevens prepares the block, killing one Lackey. The other Lackey does hit and is able to trigger. We get a Goblin Matron. This is a demonic tutor effect. He can look through his entire library for any Goblin he chooses.
And that is a portal version.
You know, actually,
of that card.
I don't like that version of the art.
Well, for those of us that actually got to play with portal cards back in the day, the art wasn't exactly some of the best art we see, but some of those cards over time have actually become pretty valuable. All right.
Okay, if you're just joining us, one of the things that happens at this point in the tournament, we end up having so few people in the hall by the end of the day that we usually have to dial down our voices because it just carries, even though they're far across the room.
Yes. That looks like an incinerator he grabbed there out of his hand, out of this collection there. Okay. Again, tapping the Cavern of Souls.
We see a Skirk Prospector. This is going to allow Max Tietze to turn his goblins into mana. Any goblin can become 1 red mana, which will thus allow him to cycle his incinerator should he so choose. And that's what's happening. 1 mana from the Matron makes the incinerator finish off that Scavenging Ooze, and Max Tietze draws a card after.
Such a powerful effect to be able to cycle away a 1/1 goblin, shoot down something that's in his way, and draw from it. Alright, William Stevens here. By now, you know, looks like he may have... No, he did not pass back yet. Struggling with decision here. Seems like he's unsure of what he wants to play right now. Again, for those of you just joining us, this is Max Tietze against William Stevens, Game 1 of the semifinals, Mother of Ruins and Qasali Pride Mage.
You think you have your phone or one of you is wrong.
Okay. Pass back to Max Tietze.
Mother of Runes is a very, very problematic card should it manage to stop being sick. Mother, a card that I know Patrick Chapin was making fun of at various different points throughout the weekend in Detroit. And why was he making fun of it? According to Patrick, Mother is one of those fair cards that you have no business playing in Legacy. But you know what? The reason Maverick works is a card like Mother of Runes negating the value of so many cards. And, you know, Patrick is well aware of the power of Mother of Runes. He just prefers to go to another level of unfair.
Oh, okay. Max swings in for 2. Does he decide to block with the Pride Mage? No, he does not. Takes it. Goes down to 13. Max taps 2.
We see a Mogg War Marshal.
Yes.
With the Skirk Prospector. This actually represents a fair amount of mana. The goblin that he receives from the War Marshal dying means that with that Mogg War Marshal, he has effectively 3 red mana available sitting there.
He's used this combination very effectively to draw additional cards as well as get rid of other issues that he's had in the way.
You see a pile driver come out. Now look at this. That goblin pile driver is joined by, count them, 5 other goblins. That means that pile driver can attack for 11 power on the coming turn, and that's assuming nothing else bad happens.
All right, William draws his card. Okay, fetch land, Knight of the Reliquary. Untaps.
Max Tietze has already been said numerous times this weekend. He was the first invitational winner in 2012. He's looking to be a repeat not repeat champion here. The invitational's already over, but he was the first invitational winner in 2012, and now he wants to start off this new season by becoming the legacy champion here at the Open.
Okay.
Ringleader.
Flips.
War Chief, Sting Scourger, War Marshal, and what's that last card? A Mountain.
Okay, that was 3 out of 4. That's not a bad draw from that one.
Now the funny thing is, with that War Chief, he could sack a few more goblins and go even further, but he's going to wait until next turn to really unload even more. Now, Mother of Runes has to sit back to play defense. Knight of the Reliquary is going to help out on this. But the longer that William Stevens waits, the more likely it is that we're going to see an overwhelming presence on the board like we have not seen probably since Jim Davis at the Invitational in Indianapolis last year.
Okay, William Stevens cracks the land. He's now up to 4 mana. You see in his graveyard, Dryad Arbor, Scavenging Ooze, land, and
now William Stevens here, he's dealing with this flying goblin trapeze on the other side of the table, and what he's trying to do here is just put down enough of a fair fight to make sure that he can hold off this ever-growing army. Back to Max. One of the things that Max has to reckon with in terms of defense from William Stevens has access to 4 Swords to Plowshares, and then, of course, cards like Umezawa's Jite and Batterskull. Path to Exile is also in the main deck. We see a War Chief joining the table for Max Tietze. War Chief is particularly dangerous for one huge reason. When you have a War Chief in play, this was always one of the backbones of Goblins many years ago, because everything that you could do would have haste, and so you could be surprised by an incredible explosion that was not even apparent until it hits you.
All right, that looks like a Maze of Ith there. Brought out by William Stevens there. Sport's getting pretty clogged up there, Adrian, with Spotlight Pride Mages all over the place. Knights of the Reliquary, Thalia, Mother of Ruins.
I'm not sure how I feel about William Stevens getting the Maze of Ith early like this. It does afford him the ability to do something kind of neat, which is attack with the Knight of the Reliquary, put the damage out there, and then after it's done, he can return the Knight of the Reliquary with the Maze of Ith back to the untapped position. But the Maze of Ith being out there means that it's vulnerable to Rishadan Port and to Wasteland, so that that can happen before the attack, and thus a card like Goblin Piledriver will have an opportunity to connect.
And he does have, between the Wastelands and the ports, he has 8 of them to him. Available to him in his original 60. Okay, he's tapping Mother of Ruins. Swinging with the Knight.
He makes it pro-red to get through, essentially going to just dome Max. And I think he's hoping to put up a race. And he does do after the combat. During combat, after the damage, returns the Knight to the untapped position.
All right, draw for Max here. Max is going to have to do something here fairly quick, or this Knight of Reliquary is just going to take care of business by itself.
You know, I don't think, even with the Kasali Pride Mages, I don't know that Max is worrying too hard yet. If you look at his board here, I mean, he's in a position right now, particularly having drawn that mountain, where all it will take is a single card like a Ringleader or a Matron, and he could just overwhelm William Stevens in one fell swing.
Counts Astro cards in hand. It's 2 from William Stevens.
With only one War Chief in play, a single Path to Exile or Swords to Plowshares would mean that any new Goblins that don't have haste on their own would not be able to join the party. But I don't know about you. I have not seen William Stevens' hand, so I can't tell you if he has such a trick in hand.
Again, for those of you joining us, this is Game 1 of the quarterfinals of Legacy. Max Tietze versus William Stevens. Max is playing Goblins on the play here. Dropping a Siege Gang commander.
Now remember, this Siege Gang commander currently has haste, as do all of those other Goblins. Every 3 Goblins represents 2 damage because of Skirk Prospector. He can sacrifice 1 Goblin to the Prospector, 2 Goblins to the Prospector, and then the 3rd Goblin to the Siege Gang commander. So that's 2 damage per Goblin, and that's just assuming that we only use the Siege Gang to deal damage in that way.
Okay. Looks like he uses the first one to...
Oh my goodness, he uses this to create a Mog War Marshal.
And he can sacrifice the War Marshal to create another one and draw a card. That's
And there was a Sting Scourger.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 goblins.
And Knight of the Reliquary uses its ability. What's it doing? Perhaps getting a Dryad Arbor? No, that's already dead. I'm curious what he's planning on getting here. A Horizon Canopy to hunt for another card? A fetch land, okay.
All right.
He's making his Knight of the Reliquary a little bit bigger in the future. Presuming that he sacks that. And the Knight of the Reliquary, bloop, back up to the hand. Now, actually, just look at this table. With only 4 creatures out, Max Tietze right now can actually kill all of the creatures that William Stevens has in play and have creatures left over.
It's an amazing board state. Let's see, what does Max want to do here? Okay, he will sacrifice a goblin.
One more, another pile driver. Wow. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13 goblins in play currently.
And every one of them has haste.
I predict that Max Tietze is going to attack with all of his goblins, and then during combat, he is going to sacrifice some of those goblins to take care of business on these various potential blockers.
Okay.
Remember, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 goblins coming in. This means that each of those pile drivers is now getting plus 22-0, becoming a 23-2 goblin. That and William Stevens puts down some potential blocks.
Realizes the 2 he absolutely has to block right away. Okay. He's gonna.
Okay. Now William Stevens uses the Swords to Plowshares. I think that William Stevens actually wanted to use this Swords to Plowshares before attackers were declared. There would have been a lot less scary stuff going on had that been the case.
All right, Max is figuring out exactly how he can sacrifice this correctly. To get the most out of this.
I think that we're going to see some goblin going down here with these goblins.
Okay.
And William Stevens decides just to pack it up, pack it in. That first game over in a flash. Remember what I was saying before? A lot of us who haven't been seeing goblins in a while, goblins has shifted in many ways to become a different kind of deck. This is a very old school deck, but before we talk more about goblins, let's go to another winner. Max Tietze, what did he do? He won the first invitational of this year. He just won this first game, and one of you can be the first person of our Star City Games Premium giveaway here during this Legacy Open to receive a 3 free months Star City Games Premium, a great deal. And how you do it? You tweet with the hashtag SCG Premium. You can see it right there, and answer this trivia question that Robert has.
What current top 8 Legacy competitor in the event today does a metagame breakdown for Star City Games?
Okay, so did you get that, everybody? Hashtag SCG Premium. What's the question once again, in case someone didn't?
What top 8 competitor in the Legacy event today is a metagame breakdown writer on Star City Games.
Okay, get the correct answer. Tweet it with the hashtag SCG Premium. One of you out there will be a lucky winner of 3 free months of Star City Games Premium. We're going to repeat this style of contest, our Star City Games Premium giveaway, in the semifinals, giving away 6 months.
Oof.
And then in the finals, giving away a full year of Star City Games Premium. And now let's return to sideboarding. Before we go straight into the sideboarding, though, I was saying about how Max Tietze, his goblins list, is reminiscent of the old school goblins, which were fully capable of producing this insane swarm that would make it very hard for you to keep up. And we just saw that. Now, what had happened to a lot of these goblins lists, they were trying to compete with a different style of metagame, and the goblins lists that were being played, very, very different. I love seeing this kind of classic style of goblins with a few new cards.
When you look at Max's sideboard,
oh man, Max's sideboard is a work of genius. One of the things Max has in his sideboard is Angel of Despair. It's not for this matchup, but we saw the amazing play, show and tell, put the pressure on, brought out, I believe it was Omniscience.
Yes.
It might have been Emrakul, but I think it was Omniscience. And Max Tietze just dropped an Angel of Despair and locked up the game. That's not going to be brought out here. He can get an Angel of Despair into play with Aether Vial, but that is not what he's going to be doing. Here, what he'll be doing is he'll be using Pyrokinesis, a incredible free spell in the vein of Force of Will. It's the red analog to Force of Will. What does it do? Pitch a red card and deal 4 damage any way you'd like. Split. You can do 4 damage, 1, 1, 1, 1. You can do 1, 2, 1. It's only to creatures, but it's an amazing spell. William Stevens, he, on the other hand, I think he is going to have to bring in his gut shots. And other than that, perhaps Ethersworn Canonist. Canonist, not necessarily a card you think of as being a solid card against goblins, but what it does do is it prevents that turn you saw at the end there, where Max Tietze went spell, 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 kill you. If
as
you're,
you can see,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. As you can see, Max requested William's sideboard list to see what exactly he would be bringing in. And it's like, just like Adrian said, he could have saw that and potentially saw it exactly the way Adrian did, and now can prepare accordingly for it. I believe, Adrian, you were going to say.
Okay. What I was going to say, actually, it's about the other matchups. We have one of our pairs, that's Marius and James. They are in Game 3, and they are playing Rug on Rug, the rest of our top 8 happening. Then we've got Hetrick in the mirror match versus Joe Lossett. Michael Hetrick is up 1-0 in Miracles. So it's funny that the Rug match, they are already in Game 3, whereas we're going on to Game 2 here and in the Miracles matchup.
And you would think with 2 decks like this that function very fast, that it would be that way. But that's okay. We will see what happens next. Both of them are shuffling up here. As you can see, the few fans that decided to stay along to watch the quarterfinals here.
I mean, it is 9:30 p.m. here, and we started broadcasting at 8 a.m. A lot of the players that are here have been here for a good 13 hours. They might have been here for 14 or 15 hours yesterday. That's a lot of Magic to fit into a weekend. I mean, if you were being paid, you'd be almost at a full-time job if you just were here Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, no kidding. The stories that we've gotten this weekend from players, the ability to, in between matches, we go out and talk to them, find out what's going on, get a feel of the vibe of the event. One of the advantages of being able to go to a Star City Games event like this is if you get to go and just talk to some of the players, just to find out a little more about them, always makes for a great time. And so many of these players are so nice. We'll spend time talking to you.
Absolutely.
Just makes for a great event for all.
Yeah. I think one of the things that William Stevens is going to be looking at here, Max Tietze is up 1-0 against William Stevens. One of the things that William Stevens is going to be looking at here, his deck list is set up for a different metagame than the one that Max Tietze has in front of him. Goblins is still kind of a marginal deck in terms of its popularity. That doesn't mean it's bad, it just means that people are not playing it very regularly. Is Max Tietze, along with Cedric Phillips and then
Anthony
Eason, are they going to bring back a resurgence of Goblins? Is Goblins going to show up in large numbers once again?
Seems like every time you say that about any deck like that, it seems to just fade away. But we'll see. Turn 1 Dryad Arbor by William Stevens. Response by a turn 1 Aether Vial by Max. Wasteland.
And Dryad Arbor makes a Noble Hierarch. Max Tietze, Aether Vial up to 1.
All right. We know that we saw Max does have a fetch land in his hand, along with another Aether Vial. I believe that's a Siege Gang Commander.
Now remember, besides this video coverage that you have going on right now, if you go to StarCityGames.com's Facebook page, you can see an amazing number of awesome photos that have captured this event. I mean, look at the StarCityGames.com Facebook page. What are you going to see? Some pictures of people like Ali Atrazi, the U.S. national champion from last year, Shaheen Surani, and many others, showing us just the kind of fun times they've been having this weekend.
Well, down goes another Aether Vial by Max Tietze. Passes to William Stevens. Those photos online are provided to us by Rob Johnson, a photographer that comes and works for Star City Games in major events like this.
Rob Johnson, a very talented photographer. We're very lucky to have him.
Yes. All right. 2 Aether Vials in play for Max Tietze could allow him to have lots of possibilities here. Green Sun Zenith for 1. For another Noble Hierarch.
Now, there is the danger, of course. I'm going to try to drop my voice just on the off chance it carries. With 3 1 toughness creatures in play, if Max Tietze has a Pyrokinesis, it's going to be utterly devastating to William Stevens.
Yeah, that will take out 3 potential mana sources out of play immediately for him, if you are correct on that. Does he go in and swing? No. Passes the turn. Okay, Aether Vial ticks up to 2. Ticks up to 1.
And we have a word. Our first match is done. Brian Eason, playing Esper Stoneblade, has defeated Trevor Petrilli with Omnitel. A quick 2-0 victory.
Wow.
Meanwhile, Joe Lossett has won Game 2 in the Miracles matchup of Joe Lossett, the Denver champion, versus Michael Hetrick, also known as Ship at Hala, is going to a final game.
Speaking of your correct prediction on the card, sir.
Pyrokinesis, ouch.
3 gone. He's left with just a colorless land in Wasteland. Wow.
Now, one of the things about history often repeats itself. It's a good idea to keep track of what's happened in Magic's past so you know what could happen in Magic's future.
Wow. He just passed the turn. Aether Vial up to 3 and 2 respectively. Max Tietze with a wide open board to another Aether Vial.
Now, Aether Vial in many ways is just a fancy, if fragile, variant on land. But what it does do is it does allow Max Tietze to, in many ways, cheat on mana by not having very many lands, and as well exercise cards like Wasteland and Rishadan Port to punish his opponents for playing more fragile mana bases.
He pulls out a Goblin Matron, which I believe that is a Goblin Ringleader he gets for that card. Untaps, takes it to 4. Now, is he going to leave it at 3? Let's see. Nope, he leaves him. He will take Aether Vial to 1. I do believe he has that Seagate Commander in his hand.
Now, you look at Max Tietze here. He's being very thoughtful and patient about his match as he plays this out. And what he's trying to do here is he's trying to plan out what possible goblins he's going to want before he chooses to ratchet up all of the Aether Vials. Having the correct numbers on your Aether Vial can be very critical. You'll note he immediately taps that one, gets a ringleader. He still has the other Aether Vial on the stack. Oh my goodness.
Swing and a miss.
Oh, Max Tietze there now decides to up that second Aether Vial. This is much like the kind of timing that you can see sometimes in Legacy when it comes to Delvers and fetch lands or other things that give you the opportunity to make choices like that.
Absolutely. Okay, he swings in.
That's 3 damage.
Taking William Stevens down to 17. William Stevens has gone back-to-back draws with no land.
Oh, we see that Rishadan port, and he says go. And this gives him the chance during upkeep, tap the land down. In this matchup, that's practically a time walk.
Well, there's a fetch land. That will take him down to 16.
I think we're likely to see a quick 2-0 victory here from Max Tietze.
I did see Swords of Plowshares in his hand.
Even so, there's nothing in William's, or even if William has a swords, there's nothing in play from Max Tietze that's particularly worthy of being swords. I think what's just going to happen is Max is going to grind him out with his value that he's going to drag from various cards.
Okay.
Mother of Runes. No dropping of a 1 or a 3 indicates that Max doesn't have either of those cards. He might be very low on cards. Is he down to 1 or 2 right now?
I think it looks like at least 2. I would think he would take this Aether Vial to 5 if he has Siege King in his hand.
Well, he's doing, you can see him stacking. So he lets the stack on that 1 resolve first. Then, yep, he's tapping it. There's going to be another ringleader. And now he's going to wait to see what happens with this ringleader. One goblin only. It's a Skirk Prospector. Very disappointing for Max.
But he can play it.
And then this, I think, is going to mean he's going to ramp up his other Aether Vial after he puts out this free Skirk Prospector. And then let it go to 2. Finally, this last one goes up to 5. And then he'll draw.
Yes, you see the Siege King Commander as the top card in his hand.
Now, with Max Tietze here, remember, not all of these creatures can be attacked with. That Skirk Prospector, unlike the rest of his buddies, does not have haste. Make sure... oh, 1 second. We're going to have to make sure that that Skirk Prospector does not attack. Unless there's a War Chief that I don't know about.
Nope.
There we go.
I'm telling you, they can hear you from over here.
Maybe so.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, so... taps it. Out will come the Siege Gang Commander. With 3 more tokens.
And I think we're going to see one of these tokens immediately kill the Mother of Runes. Goblins, they do not like Mom. Take that, Mom. You're not even my real mom.
And secretly, like you said earlier, Patrick Chapin smiling.
You know, I think that goblins, as abusive as some of these interactions are, I don't know that it's abusive enough for Patrick Chapin to smile. And Mom goes down. Untap. A goblin sacrifices itself to the cause to port down the Savannah. William Stevens uses that mana to use the Swords to Plowshares on the Siege Gang Commander. Max Tietze could sacrifice that for mana, but he chooses instead to gain the 2 life. It's not worth sacrificing 2 more goblins to get any value out of that.
Okay, he does swing in, taking William to 11.
If you're just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan in the booth with Robert Martin. We are here for SCG Live, giving you the quarterfinals of the Legacy Open in, I would say, very sunny Atlanta, Georgia.
And Thalia comes out on the board right now.
I mean, look at how overwhelmed Thalia has to be by all of these cards. We've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 goblins, but unfortunately for them, Thalia has first strike, and Siege Gang Commander is dead.
All right, let's see what he can do with...
If he attacks with everybody, he's basically throwing away a goblin to make it into a burn spell. And at William's low life, that might not be a bad idea.
Looks like he wants to tap the Aether Vial for 5. Could that be another Siege Gang commander? Wasteland.
Oh my goodness. It is another Siege Gang commander. Unless William Stevens has a Terminus in his deck and it's on top of his library, I think that is all she wrote.
Oh, it is being shot.
That is all she wrote. William Stevens sees the writing on the wall. He scoops it up. 2-0. Look at that face. I think William Stevens either has not played for a while or he misses this. He misses seeing goblins do that. One of the two. I mean, usually when you die and you're smiling, it's like, wow, that was awesome. So William Stevens, I don't know William Stevens personally, but I'm curious if it's that he's one that loves seeing goblins or if he's just hasn't seen this happen before.
Well, congratulations to Max Tietze again. Another